Why hasn't Middle America given Paige Bueckers the Caitlin Clark treatment?
Who are you looking forward to matching up against?
Everybody, honestly. I'm just so excited to compete.
Well, the ratings are out. How much Paige Bueckers is moving the needle? There's already statistical evidence. No, she is not moving the needle in women's sports or women's basketball nearly to the effect of Caitlin Clark.
Paige Bueckers has had one of the best careers in the history of women's college basketball. And looking at these ratings for the women's tournament, it is abundantly clear Paige Bueckers might be a star, but she's not a draw.
Paige Bueckers, she ain't gonna be Caitlin Clark. Not now, not today, not ever. Sorry, it ain't gonna happen.
The moment Paige Bueckers spoke, the internet erupted. It wasn't a game-winning shot. It wasn't a viral highlight. It was a statement, raw, bold, and impossible to ignore. Paige didn't just question why she's not being treated like Caitlin Clark. She took it a step further.
The life that I have now as a white woman who leads a Black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on Black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve.
Paige Bueckers, racially confused, speaks like a lot of your friends do. I always told guys, why do you guys speak different when you're talking to an African-American person? Paige Bueckers is that girl. A little racially confused, sexual orientation to be determined, but Caitlin Clark was not.
She called out the system, she called out the fans, and she lit a match that's still burning. Because in her words, it's not just about basketball anymore. It's about race, bias, and double standards. She's watching Caitlin Clark get celebrated, endorsed, and elevated like no one else. Sold out arenas, multi-million-dollar deals, nonstop media love.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin, and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
And Paige, she's wondering why none of that has come her way, despite a resume full of accolades. Is this jealousy? Is it a fair critique? Or is Paige Bueckers exposing a side of the sport nobody wants to talk about?
The ladies of the WNBA are racist, sexist, and insecure, and they can't stand, for whatever the reason, that Caitlin Clark has a better game than they've ever had, any of them, even the white lady.
One thing's for sure, she didn't come for conversation, she came for confrontation. And now the question isn't whether Paige is as good as Caitlin. It's whether the league, the media, and the fans have already made up their minds. Let's break this all the way down. When Paige Bueckers entered the WNBA, expectations were sky high. A former National Player of the Year, a college star with an elite basketball IQ, silky shooting touch, and the kind of court vision that turns plays into poetry.
Paige Bueckers ain't Caitlin Clark and will never be on the court. ESPN continuing their Caitlin Clark erasure agenda.
From her freshman year at UConn, she was hailed as the future, the one destined to change the game. But something happened between then and now. Caitlin Clark happened. While Paige battled injuries and rehabbed in silence, Caitlin was rewriting the rules of women's basketball in real time.
The Caitlin Clark effect is real. There's evidence of that in college women's basketball ratings, and there's evidence of that now in the 2025 WNBA draft on ESPN delivered the second most viewed WNBA draft ever, averaging 1.25 million viewers. The spin is real from the media.
She was hitting logo threes, shattering scoring records, and dragging college basketball into primetime conversations with every bucket. And when Caitlin declared for the WNBA draft, the response was seismic. Suddenly, the spotlight that once hovered over Paige belonged to someone else. Now Paige is watching Caitlin Clark become the most celebrated rookie in WNBA history.
2025 WNBA draft averaged 1.5, the second highest ratings ever. So its peak was 1 million viewers less than the average for the Caitlin Clark experience. The viewership literally got cut in half. Hell of a lot of people said, Caitlin Clark's gone, I'm gonna do something else with my day. And of course, last year, Caitlin Clark came out. The WNBA saw its far and away biggest rating ever for the WNBA draft.
Multi-million-dollar endorsements, packed arenas, national broadcasts, and social media obsession. And to Paige, it doesn't just feel like she's being overlooked. It feels intentional. That's why her recent remarks hit so hard. Because Paige didn't just express disappointment, she pointed the finger. She brought up race. She questioned the fan base. She accused the system of favoring Caitlin not just for her game, but for who she is. And while some saw it as speaking truth to power, Others saw it as bitterness.
Caitlin Clark really did get the rookie treatment during her early months with the Fever. She got absolute racist, sexist treatment and abuse. That wasn't rookie treatment they gave her.
Let's be real. Paige Bueckers isn't just another rookie. She's immensely talented, widely respected, and coming into the league with years of hype behind her. But her frustration stems from watching another white player, a player just as young, just as hyped, receive the kind of red carpet treatment she never did. And here's where things get even more complicated, because Paige has never been afraid to speak on social issues.
Paige Bueckers is coming in, and she's going to be a driving force.
Clark is going against Paige and Dejanay. ESPN today, when they were talking about Paige, one of them says, I think Paige will be a good player this year, but I'm not expecting a Caitlin-like impact, and that's an unfair bar to set. Dallas Wings using the promo poster of Paige Bueckers and Caitlin Clark to hype that game up.
At the 2021 ESPYs, she used her spotlight to celebrate Black women in sports, a moment that gained applause from many, but drew silent stares from others. While Caitlin stayed focused on the game, Paige chose activism. Now, she's suggesting that choice may have cost her. According to Paige, the same fans who worship Caitlin for her clean-cut Midwestern image have no interest in celebrating her own journey.
That would not stop media spin. We knew this would happen.
The same media that tracks Clark's every move barely covers Paige's comeback. And in her mind, that's not about performance, it's about preference. The question Paige is now asking, loudly, isn't just, why not me? It's what makes her more marketable than me. And in a league that's trying to balance legacy, progress, and growing popularity, that question just opened a very uncomfortable conversation.
We want to see Caitlin Clark and we want to see Paige Bueckers.
Caitlin scored more points per game, but Paige was more efficient.
But the conversation doesn't stop with Paige Bueckers asking why she isn't being treated like Caitlin Clark. It deepens when you look at the world that has embraced Clark and what that says about the game, the fans, and the future of women's basketball. Because Caitlin Clark hasn't just been celebrated, she's been elevated. She's become the face of the WNBA, the name that sells out arenas, the jersey every kid wants, the highlight reel ESPN runs on loop. And the numbers, they're not even close.
Caitlin Clark got beat up last year because Caitlin Clark was everything the women who she stood on the shoulders of weren't. She was a nice, straight girl that balled hard, had a different game, and it pissed everybody off, including the little gals on ESPN.
Her WNBA debut drew over 2.5 million viewers. Attendance at Fever games exploded, home and away. She made the Indiana Fever the most talked about team in the league overnight. Her NIL deals set records before she even stepped onto a professional court. Caitlin isn't just a player, she's a walking, shooting marketing machine. So why the gap?
Yo, man, we should be talking about her the way we talked about Caitlin Clark last year.
People will hate Caitlin Clark for any reason and make it about race.
We got Caitlin, we got Paige, we got Juju. Who do you think will shine the brightest?
Well, that's exactly why I'm not picking Caitlin Clark.
Critics say it's simple. Caitlin earned it. She put up historic stats, shattered records, delivered in clutch moments, and carried her teams to deep tournament runs. She did all the things that define greatness, then made it look easy. But Paige sees it differently, because when she was healthy, she was dominant. She had the vision, the poise, the accolades, and while her injuries slowed her down, her game never disappeared.
Caitlin Clark was clearly heterosexual, handled herself with grace, just balled out and competitive as hell between the lines, but very nice, subdued, and hung out with her boyfriend off the court. That is a formula for disaster with the angry lesbians of the WNBA, particularly when you're Caitlin Clark and you dominate the scene, you dominate the ads, you dominate being on television and everything about television.
She believes the difference in treatment isn't just about basketball, it's about branding, perception, and most importantly, bias. And that's where things get uncomfortable. Paige Bueckers is calling out what she sees as a racial double standard in fan support.
First overall pick of the WNBA draft, Paige Bueckers. Will she receive the Caitlin Clark? I don't know.
Suggesting that Clark's rise is backed not only by her skill, but by a demographic that is more comfortable rooting for someone who looks like them, talks less about social issues, and doesn't challenge the status quo. That's a heavy accusation, one that immediately split the internet. Some argue Paige is just bitter, trying to turn her lack of popularity into a social commentary. But others say she has a point, pointing to how women of color have carried the WNBA for years without receiving even a fraction of the attention Clark gets.
Paige Bueckers is woke as hell. She's going to come into the league and join the WNBA activism. She's probably not going to be embraced over that because we are sick of it.
The life that I have now as a white woman who leads a black-led sport and celebrated here, I want to show a light on black women. They don't get the media coverage that they deserve. They've given so much to the sport and the community and society as a whole, and their value is undeniable. The WNBA, last season, the postseason awards, 80% of the winners were black, but they got half the coverage as the white athletes. So I think it's time for change. Sports media holds the key to storylines. Sports media and sponsors tell us who is valuable, and you have told the world that I matter today, and everyone who voted, thank you. But I think we should use this power together to also celebrate black women.
Don't you realize these black girls all paved the road that she's traveling, that these black women built the WNBA, that these black women carried women's basketball, and now all the racists love women's basketball because they're racist and they have Caitlin Clark. Just not true.
And as long as she comes in the league and she joins the likes of DeJounte Carrington and all these others that are always promoting some kind of activism, she's not going to know. Why? Because sports fans want to watch damn sport.
And then there's the irony. Paige, a white player herself, isn't distancing herself from that truth. She's standing right in the middle of it. She's openly stated she wants to use her platform to highlight and uplift black women in the sport, acknowledging that many of them have paved the way for her to even be in this position.
The Monica McNutts and the Chimmies of the world and all the other clowns at ESPN that have tried to paint Caitlin Clark as popular for one reason, and that being a white girl.
So now the tension grows, because it's not just Clark versus Bueckers on the court. It's what they represent off it. Clark is viewed as the safe star, laser focused on basketball, beloved by middle America, and celebrated by brands. Bueckers is now being seen as the rebel, the one questioning the system, shining a light on the disparities, and asking the hard questions. And here's the part no one wants to say out loud.
She is the chosen one, as they say. That may not be the case for Bueckers. For those of you wondering if Paige's acceptance into the WNBA will be different than Caitlin, delusional fan base that follows Caitlin Clark disrespected the WNBA players by saying she's going to go into that league and tear it apart.
The fan base that embraced Clark may not be ready or willing to give that same energy to someone who challenges them. So the question remains, is Paige right? Is the love for Caitlin Clark truly about the game? Or is it also about what she doesn't say and what Paige refuses to stay silent about? Now comes the heart of it, the showdown everyone's tiptoeing around.
She got sexist, racist treatment from sexist, racist women.
Can Paige Bueckers ever reach Caitlin Clark's level of impact? Or is she chasing something that was never hers to begin with? On paper, the comparison makes sense. Both were high school phenoms. Both dominated in college. Both were hyped long before the WNBA came calling. And both represent a new wave of talent that's reshaping women's basketball. But here's where it breaks apart. Caitlin Clark isn't just successful, she's inevitable. She didn't need a media campaign to prop her up. Her game created gravity. She dropped 40-point triple-doubles like it was casual. She made Iowa the center of the basketball universe. She pulled in NBA-level ratings. And every step of the way, she let her game do the talking.
Eaton Thomas contrasts how white Americans view the two based on stark differences in speaking out against racial injustice. Quote, perhaps it's because, unlike Clark, Bueckers has always been outspoken about issues off the court, Thomas wrote in a Guardian article. At the 2021 ESPYs, Bueckers was named the College Athlete of the Year. She used her acceptance speech to celebrate and honor black women in particular. In Bueckers' famous ESPYs speech, she used her platform to recognize those who didn't get get the same recognition as her, specifically highlighting black women. While Black America cheered Bueckers, it seemed like mainstream white America, a demographic once viewed her as, in her words, a media darling, weren't signaling out her praises. Is it a coincidence, or maybe because her injuries have made people forget her greatness as an athlete? But she's back from injury, and now why aren't people focused on Bueckers as they were Clark last year when she was tearing up college basketball? Maybe if Bueckers had delivered a more vanilla ESPY speech, things would be different. This is a completely embarrassing article. Caitlin Clark is a worldwide phenomenon whose playing style has drawn a level of hype that hasn't been seen in basketball in a decade.
Meanwhile, Paige's career has been a roller coaster. Undeniable skill, slowed by injuries, and now fueled by frustration. But where Clark exploded onto the national scene through jaw-dropping dominance, Paige's rise has been quieter, more complicated. And when she finally gets her shot in the WNBA, it's not just against defenders, it's against expectation.
They see a little white girl, straight girl, and they crush her. They don't understand that her game is just different.
She's not just trying to match Clark's numbers. She's trying to match her cultural footprint. And that's where the gap widens. Caitlin Clark sells. She trends. She packs arenas. Brands don't just want her, they fight for her. She's become a once-in-a-generation draw, and fans from every background have shown up, tuned in, and cashed out to witness it.
Caitlin Clark is the GOAT.
She signed my jersey. So happy, I'm crying. I'm so happy. This is the best day ever.
Caitlin Clark effect seems to be crazier than year one.
I love watching her score and just everything about her.
They went the extra mile just to watch her play here.
This is great news for women's basketball. Period.
She just brings so much passion to the game, and look at all these people that just want to come and see her.
It is no secret that the Indiana Fever are the most popular team in the WNBA. It is good for the entire WNBA.
Now Paige wants in on that. She wants the same treatment, the same attention, the same love. But here's the truth. That kind of spotlight isn't handed out. It's earned in moments, in dominance, in unforgettable performances that make the world stop. Right now, Paige hasn't delivered those moments at the pro level. And whether it's fair or not, the market has already spoken. Fans aren't tuning in out of activism or politics. They're tuning in for electricity, for fire, for something they can't look away from.
I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play, that are mad she's on national TV. They're going to brutalize her again.
And Caitlin Clark is giving them that. That's why this isn't just a rivalry, it's a reality check. Paige can talk about coverage, fans, and narratives. She can push for respect, she can demand attention. But none of that will matter unless she brings the heat on the court. Because in sports, talk gets you headlines, but greatness gets you legacy. And Caitlin, she's not just chasing legacy, she's already living it. So the real question isn't why Paige isn't getting the Caitlin treatment.
366,000, a new record for a female athlete. Caitlin is the needle. Smashed the old record held by Serena by $100,000.
Who's going to be the next face of the NBA? We don't get to decide that. The marketplace decides that. The people have chosen Caitlin Clark. They enjoy watching her play, her style, her energy, her shot. Whether it's because her game mirrors one of the greatest players in the NBA in Steph Curry or not, I don't know what it is. It's an intangible thing, right? Yes, we can say she's a dog. Okay, there's been other dogs. Okay, she's a great shooter. There's been other great shooters. She has it. She's got the thing.
And for Caitlin Clark to have the awareness to drive the eyeballs there, you have to give her so much credit.
So here we are. Paige Bueckers, a gifted player with something to prove, and Caitlin Clark, the undeniable face of a movement. What started as quiet comparisons has now erupted into full-blown tension. Paige doesn't just want to play the game. She wants the spotlight that follows Clark everywhere she goes. And she's not whispering about it. She's calling it out, questioning the fans, the media, and even the motives behind the love Clark receives.
If I was the WNBA, I would have considered a separate television package to a network on just Caitlin Clark games. I would have had two packages, the WNBA package, and then a separate, let's say, 15 to 18 game Caitlin Clark package.
But here's the harsh truth. The game doesn't care what you think you deserve. It only remembers what you deliver. Caitlin Clark has delivered record-breaking performances, generational impact, and a level of excitement that transcends basketball. She didn't ask for the crown, she took it. Now, Paige is standing at the edge of that kingdom, asking to be let in.
They like Caitlin Clark because she's not a victim, because she doesn't seem to be angry. And so they find her relatable. She's not playing with anger. She's not playing with a sense of entitlement. And yes, people find that relatable. She shoots logo threes, passes the ball like Magic Johnson, scores a lot of points, leads the league in assists. She's a great, great player, and she plays and shoots and releases the ball like Steph Curry. So there's the attraction to the exciting style of play.
But in sports, there's no invitation. You either earn your way in or you watch from the outside. So the question now isn't whether Paige deserves Caitlin's treatment. The question is, will she rise to the level that demands it? Let us know what you think.
Caitlin Clark has taken women's college basketball by storm. It's because she's white, and all of her fans are white, and they're all racist.
I'm looking forward to seeing Caitlin Clark play. That are mad she's on national TV. They're going to brutalize her again.
Team Paige or Team Caitlin? Drop your side in the comments. And if you believe Caitlin Clark is the true queen of the game, type CC 100% below and let the world know who really runs this court. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell, because this rivalry, it's only just beginning.